You would think I, of all people, would have this video review for episode 14 of King-Ohger up as fast as possible, given the nature of this episode. But it was a hectic work week, and now by the time this video goes live on YouTube, episode 15 would have already been out. I don't like playing catch up. I really don't. It has nothing to do with analytics and people not even caring about episode 14 because episode 15's out. It's just because I'm trying really hard to just keep up with a Super Sentai. Because in King-Ohger, I am enjoying so much. So much. But work and everything else happening, I just didn't have time. And there's some toy announcements. I got like a lot of other videos I want to work on as well. Like I took a couple weeks off from the podcast just because I'm just working on shit, you know. But let me tell you, an episode full of Himeno character development. Yeah, this was an episode. Now, mind you, we didn't get a lot of information to push major story stuff forward, but I did like that this was just angry Himeno. Like, we kind of see the faults in our leaders and the rulers this way, because they're not all going to be perfect. That was the main gist I got of this episode, because after the last episode with Jeremy taking everyone's Ohger calibers and this and that, we see Himeno inside of her shoe god attacking God Tarantula, takes him out, and she confronts Jeremy. She demands to know if the cicada shoe god that was with him, was his, and he says yes. And then she's asking about the fury of the gods, and this whole entire time, ever since it was introduced in the show, I'm like, I want to know more about this. I want to know more details of the fury of the gods, because I'm very curious. And Jeremy, being Jeremy, he's playing coy with her, and she does not like this, so she transforms. They're fighting, and honestly, Himeno being this angry and this aggressive, I think it also caught Jeremy off guard. But one of the things is, in this whole fight scene, I'm under the impression Jeremy wasn't really trying. We've seen how powerful Homie is in just a couple episodes, but she's just blinded by rage and just going in on him, and it surprised him because she basically wins this battle. One thing we did get for new information: did you know Deathnarok is a youngling? Like, he's young, he's not old, because he's sparring with a martial arts monster, which I love this monster. I love the design. I love his old man attitude, this and that. I love this monster so much, and I'm so sad because I'm like, oh, he's coming across as a monster of the week. But he even brought up, the strength and speed from your youthfulness and how he's older and this and that. And I was like, man, just a footnote, because this was a good character. I put him up there with my little general ant that is one of my favorites so far this season. Also, those two right there are just so good. And we find out that the new goal for Deathnarok and his Bugnarok army is God Tarantula, because it can control the greater guardian shoe god. So now they're like, oh, well, we don't need Gira if we can get the God Tarantula. I'm like, yeah, this makes sense, okay. But this whole episode was really focused on Himeno. She gives everyone back their Ohger calibers. She tells them, hey, listen, Jeremy caused fury of the gods. And she's like, Rita, you need to arrest him, pass judgment on him. It should be death. Go, get him. And I'm like, but the irony is, Rita returns home to see Morphonia with Jeremy, who's laying down in a nice thing of snow because everything's too loud. He wants a nice quiet place to just rest. And I'm like, I get it. I get it a lot, And Rita starts questioning Jeremy while he's trapped in a snowman. I want to know how powerful this snow is, honestly, because Gira was contained to a snowman. Now Jeremy, I was like, this must be some magical snow. I grew up in the Northeast. I played with snow a lot as a kid. I can tell you right now, anytime I made a snowman, one, the perfect shape of the circles never happened, no matter how hard I tried. And two, literally, I could fart and knock a freaking snowman over and melt it. Those things were not structurally sound. I literally tried to make an igloo and a fort once out of snow. Long story short, it didn't work. A whole bunch of snow collapsed on me, and then I ended up getting the flu. I was sick for like 4 or 5 days. In the little commercial where the kid comes inside dressed as like as a snowman because it's so cold out, and his mom gives him like the Campbell's condensed chicken noodle soup, and he melts away and starts smiling and laughing. That does not make you feel better. It doesn't work. I digress. I'm old, so reminiscing about snow, and it's horrible because I live in San Diego, so I don't get snow anymore, and I love that so much. But Rita is questioning Jeremy about the fairy gods, and he's claimed, like, at the time, oh, I was meditating and I was organizing my stuff and getting my stories in order, and Rita ain't having it. She's not having his attitude, how he's talking. And I get that. That's, the thing. But, man, so much stuff goes on. Like, we get, Himeno being angry even at Gira. She's like, go find me Scorpy. Go, like, get me God Tarantula. Like, they're being controlled. And Gira's like, no, I don't think so. Like, it seems like they might be friends and they've known each other for a long time. Himeno, and all this stuff may seem little small little parts, but I think it's just showing how blind with rage Himeno is. Like, she's singular focused on Jeremy and getting Scorpy back, and also the fact that he's, responsible for the gods, which I keep thinking about Shazam too, honestly. But we find out, because, Morphonia is such a good investigator, that Jeremy was asleep in a cave somewhere. But how this has been recorded, okay, you ever seen like those, like, not like a carnival or fair, but the ones where it's like, oh, come see the bearded lady and the snake boy and this and that. Basically, he became one of those like curiosities on display for people to go see, because that man can nap apparently, and he just does not wake up. So everyone was like, come see the Spider-Man, not that one. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That, there are recorded instances from people, not just his stuff. Like, so I'm wondering how deep this lore goes for how he's been perceived over time. Listen, if they release that book with all the information, I would buy that. I wouldn't be able to read it fully, but I will buy it. Rita explains what happens during the fury of the gods to Jeremy, since he was asleep. It was nap time. And, this whole time the Bugnarok show up, so Himeno and everyone's fighting them. And we don't get any new information about the fear of the gods and what specifically happened, other than the fact that during this, because of Himeno's parents being murdered, she took over as queen at a young age. And there was this one line from Rita that stood out to me, because they said all of them were in similar situations as they were forced to take power regardless of anything else. So I'm like, okay, this is planting the seed that we're going to get that episode for more backstory of how each one came to be in charge. We already got Yanma, where, during the Fury of the Gods, his kingdom was kind of destroyed. He built his own computer and was able, with that computer, like, rebuild Nikospa to its glory, which is cool. And, this whole time, Jeremy is saying, okay, well, I got to apologize to him now. And even Rita's like, there's a simple apology. Is it going to do anything? And he's like, well, I have some information. Are you familiar with Moffin and me? And, okay, I hate the fact that every time we get a glimpse of like a character or personality like change, or Rita's deep down, it's always when Moffin is like brought up, but it's still entertaining. Okay. And, Rita even demands that, you talk immediately. You tell me about Moffin. Tell me about Moffin. Tell me about my favorite show, even though Rita doesn't say my favorite show, but we know. But this is the Himeno episode, and our martial arts monster, he laid some groundwork into Gira, but Himeno shows up, and the fight we get, like I like character development where someone gets that anger and they can't contain it, and they just go and unleash, and that's what this was. So I was like, I'm strength, beauty, and this and that, and even as Himeno's going for a final blow, our martial artist says what we all know and we should all acknowledge is her beauty, because he's like, such beauty, and then he gets hit with the final strike, and I'm like, damn it, I want him around more. Obviously, he's gonna come back, but um the scenes with Himeno and Jeremy when she comes to realization that everything is going on, because Garrett even confronts Himeno right after, and he even says, "You've lost sight of who you are," and because she's so hell bent, like I said, Jeremy, Jeremy, Jeremy. That's like her main focus, and you know, and she's still blaming him for fear of the gods, having Scorpio, but Yanma, quick thinking, hacks into her broadcasting thing, interrupts an episode of Moffin and Me. So gladly Rita wasn't around to see that happen, and sends a message to everyone. He's like, bring Jeremy to Himeno and Dabowski. It says, yeah, you do this, you get whatever you want. And Rita shows up, and obviously Jeremy's not far behind. And to stop this, because Kira's still in Himeno, like there's this weird, like they're still kind of going at it. But Rita even says Jeremy wasn't responsible, and that Jeremy has information to share, and this is kind of like his way of reconcile everything. And Rita even says, do you know the origins of Moffin and Me? And we find out that this show was created to support Himeno when she was a kid, when she first took over as ruler. Because, you see all these scenes where she's just sitting there as a kid, angry. Her parents were just not happy, not smiling, nothing at all. And then watching this Moffin and Me cartoon, got a smile and a laugh out of her. And I was like, that's a smart way to kind of not manipulate, but kind of lighten the mood for a young kid. So sadly, we started to get a nice moment because Jeremy's seeing all this stuff and watching, like, Jeremy's getting emotional. I like how Jeremy emotes so much on his face when it's like, and it's such good acting and good for the character. And we start to get the reconciliation. It's going good. But like I said, big martial arts monster shows up. And we get God Tarantula and our greater guardian shoe gods. But the cool thing is, Gira was piloting Gabito, and Yanma was in Bata, and Himeno, of course, was piloting Scorpy. And I thought all the action was really good. But man, the OST, the music, we had like, I want to say upbeat, like slice of life anime OST going on. Like, I was like, man, the music does not miss. It always slaps. And I was like sitting there and I'm like trying to pay attention to the fight, but I'm listening to this music and I'm like, this music reminds me of like the outro to like Rent a Girlfriend season 2 or any like thing of that genre. Like Don't Toy Miss Nagatoro or something like that. And I'm like, man, this is some good OST. This is some good music. And I was patiently waiting this fight for the night form for God Tarantula to debut. Obviously, in the preview, we found out it's next week, and I was like, I can't wait to see this. And the big reveal, because we have to push the narrative forward for the next episode, because we really didn't have anything to do that right now, is Dabowski and Rackley's. Rackley's is still here. And they're talking, and he's like, Jeremy's gonna be a good person to have, to have. And Rackley, and he even asks, how's my sister doing? And, Rackley's like, oh, do you want to see her? And Dabowski's like, no, I've steeled myself to not want to. And then we actually get a look at Dabowski's sister for the first time. And I was like, oh, that's his sister. And I was like, you know what? My plate is so full of simping between Morphonia and Himeno. I would not be able to stand if we had like another Himeno. Nothing against Dabowski's sister, but I'm just putting that out there. This was a really good episode from a story standpoint. It wasn't the best episode of the season, but so far anyways, but I just like that it's what I brought up before. I want to get more personal with E and see that character. So we got to see Himeno and her through her faults, and she's human. She's a ruler, but she's also just a person. I like that. One thing I have complaints about, the two people who really, and I know with the sister thing, we're probably going to get more Dabowski stuff. Rita is still such a mysterious character, and I really want an episode like this for Rita. And I really want one for Dabowski also, but mainly Rita, because I feel like Rita as a character, we need more. And like I said, and I've said it earlier on in my reviews, when we get that episode like that, it's gonna be really good. It's it's gonna be like one of those, damn, this is a good episode. But that's it for episode 14. Like I said, it's delayed. I still got to do 15 now because 15 is probably out by now. But yeah, I thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.